It's hard to know the truth, let alone speak the truth. But somehow, what is happening here is true. Whatever that means. If you try to cognate that, of course, it's complex and hard to hold on to. But there is a part of us that knows what is true, that is part of truth, and embody that. In a sense, more than embody it. I've sort of sensed recently that the universe really doesn't care all that much about us. Whatever you want to say the universe is. I saw an image on the TV the other night, a screensaver from the Apple program, and it was just hovering over all the cars driving through Los Angeles. And I became very aware that every car had a driver and passengers and stories beyond understanding. Everyone had a story, possibly multiple stories that were all really important and really significant to them. And here I was, high above the freeway, looking down, and I had no clue what their stories were. I just knew they had them the same way that I did. And I partly, in a way, cared about them, but mostly I did not care. And I'll tell you why. Because the job of caring does not belong to the invisible creative source of being that established all this. It belongs to those of us who have been manifested and created. We are the source of care. We are God caring. And either you are fulfilling that mission, bringing care into the world, or you're not. But if there's anything that seems to be wanted by this larger oceanic force in bothering to create us, is that it wants us to become a vehicle for a force of love and caring and well-being and embrace of the creation itself and everything and everyone in that creation. And our ability to do that is not given easily. It takes an incredible turn of mind, if you will, from being totally obsessed with you and your story and your narrative and your adventure and your fears and your hopes and ambitions, which dominate most people's lives, and probably in all the cars driving on the freeway, all the lives of people down there. But some people down there in the cars, some people listening to me now, have begun to realize that caring is your job, that loving the creation, the universe, the manifested universe, people around you, life itself, the grass, the trees, the sky, caring is a human job. Some of us are doing it better than others, and it has to do with escaping your total self-involvement as a person and experiencing your self-involvement as a part of the creator itself. That's really what we're doing here. And if you're not doing it, then you are caught in this drama, this dilemma of being human, and you are probably suffering a lot. Worried, fearful, concerned, hopeful, drama, loving, hating, all that dualistic stuff, which is part of being human, but it is something that can be transformed and transcended because it is essentially energy. It's energy in dialogue with itself and in its limited self, in its personal self, its bodily self. But if something initiates you into a dialogue, if you will, with your greater self, with your true self, it's different. Suddenly there's perspective. You sort of know why you are here, what you are doing here, how to live this life, how to fulfill your mission of being human, that you were created to be here to care for the world around you, to love it, to embrace it, to serve it. And if you are doing that, if you are able to do that, you are beginning to find a transcendent aspect in your life that begins to liberate you from the total obsession with you, and delivering you into something that is you in the most cosmic sense. That's what we're journeying here for, but we're not here just to benefit that and benefit from that. So, oh, I'm so special because I'm good and I love people and I do all these things, because the universe doesn't care about you. It cares about its mission, if you will, and its use of you, and it manifests you to fulfill this mission. And I'm only telling you, I don't know that it's true, but it speaks truth to me that we're here for each other. We are here to love, embrace, connect, and hold each other and help each other begin to recognize this larger self that has always been here and that we are usually not in touch with. You know, there's this whole drive in spiritual work to get there, to arrive at awakening, enlightenment, and all of that stuff that the mind then tries to turn into a story and a narrative and turn into something that's comprehensible to the mind. I can only tell you from my own journey that it's not comprehensible. It cannot be understood by the mind. The mind is too small an instrument. It's like a little ant crawling around in a little hole in the ground trying to understand what is God. We're not that different. We're not that different. Can't be done. But we are conscious and aware of our existence. We are aware that we've been created and manifested. We are aware of that. And we are aware that we can, in this manifested state, become capable of serving this larger quantity, which seems to come from a space that is essentially loving, caring, conscious, self aware, and fulfilling its purpose in the world, which is to love it, help it, guide it, hold its hand, and, if you will, worship its immense brilliance. That's what we're here for. That's what I'm thinking we're here for. And I can be totally wrong on this, and you are welcome to go find other people to tell you what this is all about, or more importantly, go into yourself. Go into yourself and figure this out as well. You can actually go inside and you can do different things, one of which is talk to yourself. And you can even talk to yourself out loud. I tell you this, that I do it in the car. You can even do it walking down the street because everybody thinks you're talking to a friend on the phone. But you talk to yourself, to this higher self. And you can do it out loud and with real vibrancy. You can say, why, how, what? What do you want me to do? How do I do? You can have a real dialogue with this self until it kind of goes, shut up. And it will do that. Listen, and it will do that. And then you stop the noise and you listen to it. But you can only do that if you're in arrangement with, relationship with, connected to the larger self. It will serve you. It will drive you. It will tell you what to do. It is so powerful. But it's a real dialogue. And it's a dialogue like you have with your best friends, with your parents, with your teachers. You talk and you ask it questions. You try to have an expression of what's going on. And you can also tell it how you're doing. You could go for a long ride in the car and just say, look, I'm dealing with these things, this stuff. This is hard. I'm having a hard time. You know I'm having a hard time because you are the source of all being, but I need to tell you anyway, because that's the way I get out of that little car on the freeway and reach up to this thing that's looking and watching and caring. That's what we have to do. We have to connect to the larger overview of our being. And sometimes it's hard. I had a horrible night's sleep last night. I can't tell you why. Everything hurt. Everything. My neuropathic pain in my feet, my both of my fingers are locked fingers. I had pain in my stomach. I mean, on and on. I was too hot. I was too cold. I couldn't breathe properly. And I was really assaulted by the universe. And I finally sat up in bed and started talking. And I started talking out loud. Luckily, I guess Blanche is a deep sleeper and she doesn't hear well. So it didn't matter if I'm talking out loud in the middle of the night. And I just talked. And I got angry, actually. I got very angry because I don't like suffering. I don't like not sleeping. I don't like the pain of being in a body that's starting to decompose. But the wisdom was get used to it because this is what aging and dropping off of a body feels like. It's not fun. It's not easy, but it brings you into a very real discourse with the powers that be because they brought you into being and they are taking you out of being, and it's going to be painful. Actually, most of life is painful. Most of life is very difficult. And every one of you can sit here right now in your brain and construct what's difficult in your life without any difficulty at all. You've all got suffering going on. But the difference is, if you have suffering going on and you start to go deep inside and you realize that everyone has suffering going on, what evolves, which is remarkable, is an empathetic response to everyone around you. And you can help diminish other people's suffering. And that, in a way, is your mission. It's our mission. It's why we're here. It is God incarnate helping itself become comforted, loved, cared for. We are the agents. We are the very thing that makes that happen. And if we dialogue with ourselves and we can speak to it, it will speak to us. And if we listen to it, it will tell us what to do. And one of the things it says is, yes, you're going to suffer, but so is everybody else. And what can you do about it? You can love them. You can care about them. And one of the fascinating things that I've discovered in loving and caring about others, and you've probably found this as well, that when you do that, somehow it goes back to you. There's a part of you that starts to feel comforted by the mere fact of helping others. But do not pat yourself on the shoulder and look at it as a kind of a conversation that's benefiting you. Do it for them. You don't do it for you. The deeper you serve others, the deeper you will be served. But the minute the you reflects that and says, well, look how great I am, boom, your suffering is going to be greater than you ever imagined because you have to let go of how great you are, how special you are, how wonderful you are, how kind you are. It's not about building that egoistic new monstrosity that people build in themselves. It's about simplicity and stillness and smallness and just being available to help. Just be available. And if you do that, the universe will use you, speak to you, guide you, love you. And even in the worst of nights, when you sit up in bed and have a dialogue with it, it will be with you and hold your hand. And it will tell you, like I just did, that the most you can do to get out of your own pain is acknowledge other people's pain and be with them, hug them, be part of that. And when you do that, when two people come together in God's name, God is there. That's all I can tell you. Or as Rudy put it, and I say it pretty regularly, if it's in front of you, it's yours. If it's in front of you, it's not by chance, it's not a mistake, it's not like you should turn away and go this way, go that way. Deal with what's in front of you. And mostly by dealing with it, accept it as it is, realize that it's a divine space that's right in front of you. It's sacred space, open to it and love it, even if you can't stand it and hate it. You know, the part that hates and has drama with life and the stuff that's in front of you, that's what spiritual life works to eradicate. The personal egoistic self that's going, it's not for me. That's not the way I want it. It should be this way. That's got to go out of the equation, because as long as that's in the equation, you're useless to everyone around you and you're useless to yourself. And I would bet you that 95.7% of the people in those cars on the freeway in Los Angeles were in that exact space. Get out of my way. I'm not honk, honk, all of that crap. That is what most people live with. It's a rare thing when you start to become the overseer, if you will, moving down into the created, manifested version that it made and wanted to have alive in the world, and serve it as a vehicle of kindness, compassion, love, and quietude that can hear the deeper voice rather than the noise up here. The whole of Rudy's practice is to get out of this, get out of the noise, go deep. It's there, it's inside you. It's also the creation of everything outside you. But one of the things you'll start to realize that the entire creation all around you all comes from inside you. It's a projection. It's a projection. Or if you want to go buy my book, it's only a movie. It's only a movie. It's projecting. And you are the movie. You are the manifestation of this profound, I'll call it light, beauty, truth, that it is unnameable, unknowable, inexpressible, except in all of its tiny components. And you are one of those tiny components. And when it's done with you, you will go back to the light, and your whole existence will go, whoop, gone. And you better let go of it quickly, because if you're holding on to it, I've been on that ride, and it's not fun. Not a fun ride. The fun ride, if you is going, thy will be done, letting go of everything, handing yourself over to the greater force and centrality of your being, and seeing how that embraces you yet again. At least that's my story of it. If I'm wrong, go find another teacher. But anyway, all I can tell you is this is a journey. You're important in it. You have a real central role in it if you're willing to give yourself that role. You are, I think, loved. You are embodiments of truth. You are the sacredness itself. And if you're not living that, you got work to do. That's all I can tell you. And if you don't do the work, they don't care. They do not care. But if you do do the work, they will use you to love the universe that it manifested with you in it. That's the gift. You do the work, you feel that experience, you get to feel the holy ground that you walk on every day. And that's a gift. The end. I really thought in the middle of the night I wouldn't be able to say a word today. I was so angry. It's having such a hard night and no sleep. I had 2 hours at best. But it's just proof. It's just proof that this energy works in spite of you, in spite of your capacity. It just works, And if you transcend your limited, angry self, it will still serve the world, because it cares more about the world than it cares about you. Any questions? I have two screens here, so you either have to speak up or I have to toggle back and forth.
Bruce,
Yes. Sounds like George.
today sounds like, instead of how misery loves company, how to transform it into happiness loves company. So,
Sort of, George, but the only problem is happiness is a word that seems to benefit us personally. And what I experience, at least this is my version of it, is it doesn't care about our happiness. It cares about a transcendent kind of well-being. We are not here to benefit from serving God. We are here just to serve. Just to serve. And
I feel that we're happier when we're helping somebody else or giving to somebody else.
yes, yes, and I think we are, and I think it feels good. But if you do it for quid pro quo, I can only tell you my experience is they're going to slap you down. It's not about you. It really isn't about you. And the more you let go of you, the more you're conserved, the better, the more important you are. So I have stopped trying to go for my happiness. The most I'm going for right now is something to alleviate, pain, let go of that. But when I do find this still pointedness that alleviates pain, there is an extraordinary kind of happiness is the wrong word. It's just like a consent to being part of the holiness of the universe. Just different than happiness. For me, George, that's all I can say.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Something says Jerry raised hand. Jerry, you there?
Yes. I have a technical question.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Go there.
in this type of meditation we're doing, we are open-eyed and we look at you. We do that here in our Zoom meeting. We do that on our daily basis, looking at a photo of you. Is closed eye meditation in addition to this, is that like contraindicated for what we're doing here?
It's a good question. The value of open-eyed meditation is referencing the manifested world as a, if you will, holy spot, and learning how to interact energetically with others, with the others around you, learning that there is connection, that the world itself is holy outside you, because so many people go into the internal meditative space as though that's the truth and the outside world is just distraction. Thing I think about Rudy's teaching was the teacher had an energetic capacity to love you and care about you in a way that may help you open inside, go deeper in your quiet personal meditation, and be more able to flow out into the world around you and realize that, excuse me, both are the same. The inner and the outer are one whole. And so the problem with many forms of Rudy's meditation is that the open eye meditation elevates one person, like the teacher, over the student. I hate that. I hate being a teacher because I want the world to be horizontal, not vertical. And I want to go shared like we all do in life with people. We look up to certain people, but if they get too pompous in that, then we don't really want to be with them so much. If they stay somewhat humble, then we're going, okay, I can keep relating to that person. And you don't want to look down on people because that creates a kind of artificial speciality for you that gets you in trouble later down the road. So meditation with eyes open with a teacher is not elevated, it's horizontal, and it has real gift in it. It's the world as sacred, giving you connection, hope, loving you, giving you a sense of, oh, you can then take that into a quiet internal meditation of your own during the day, or you can leave your eyes open and realize it's not just with teachers that energy happens, it's with everyone around you. And you can look at your family and your friends, and you don't have to do energetic work, just be present with them. Look, and you will feel, at least I do, energy happening with me and other people. That is the reason to be alive. I sit with people, and I have them in my life, who are really hard to be with, really difficult personas. And I don't do an eye open meditation because I don't even know what that is. I just sit open, present, look at them, look at the room I'm in, and feel this presence expanding. And I watch what happens. And it's really a great teaching within a period of whatever time frame we're involved in. By the end of that time frame, they are in a place of peace and simplicity. And it's beautiful. And they have no idea of the work that's happening. But I am doing all I'm doing. I'm not pushing energy into them. I am being present, allowing energy to fill the space. And that's energy is transformative. It changes even the densest people. It's really amazing. It's not Rudy's work, as I was taught. It's just being present. Being present is an amazing thing that I learned from Rudy's work. But I don't sit around going eye to eye. We have to do it this way and breathe in and take a breath. Most people I know can't do that, would never even imagine that being of value. It's simply being with people, being present. And then when you sit with a teacher, taking that energy, if that energy is transformative, and it can be, and deepening your own practice so you serve other people even better. And then you can use it internally when you meditate, when you go for a walk, when you're driving in the car, and you can dialogue with the universe at any point in time and have an amazingly expansive, rich life as a result. Does that answer your question?
Yes, that was very clear. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, good. Is there anybody else, or you want to go have lunch or breakfast? Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you for coming. I deeply, deeply appreciate you being here. And this will continue as long as, as long as we can make it happen. Okay. Thank you all.